Live tonight from the virtual Crandon International Raceway, we say good evening, race fans, and welcome to the season finale for the virtual off-road racing series Pro 4 Championship. Well, as always, we're happy that you're spending your Wednesday evening with us here on Racecraft TV. We're alongside Josh Lee. My name is Evan Pasoko, and Josh, we have seen 5 thrilling nights of short course action here on the iRacing service over the course of the last couple of months, and it leads us up to tonight. A 3-way tie in the battle for a championship and a trip to the big house to decide it all. I couldn't think of much better, and we're excited to get underway here shortly.
You couldn't script it any better. We have the top 3 in points all tied, which basically means going into the feature where all the points are up for grabs, whoever crosses that finish line first here at the virtual big house is going to win the championship. It is easy for the championship competitors in the short term. Going through all of tonight, it is going to be very difficult for these drivers to beat each other because you have the 3 best of the season all ready to go head-to-head against one another.
And the era of margin is 0. Of course, we mentioned going back to the big house. We were here earlier this season. Both Bark River last week and Crandon earlier in the year had repeat races. Last time we raced here at Crandon, Josh Edmondson picked up his first of 2 race wins this year. But I don't know how much that history is really going to tell us, Josh, because history would have told you that Keaton Swain was in the catbird seat, right, going into the Bark River race last week. He won the season opener at Bark River, instead finished runner-up to Connor Berry, and it has given us this championship picture. A 3-way tie between Josh Edmondson, Keaton Swain, and Connor Berry for the championship. Now, there's more to be decided. Can Nicholas Dashlet stay ahead of Cody Retzlaff? Can Plumley stay ahead of Felix Waugh? Those are questions that'll be answered tonight as well, but as you mentioned, no points are given out through the heats. Through the LCQs, tonight is going to come down to which of those 3 championship drivers finish highest in the feature, and all 3 of them have race wins this season.
It's just amazing to see how all through this season, 5 races down, we go into race number 6, and it's not like it's close at the front. Everybody is even at the front. It is just absolutely insane to see, and it's going to be a bloodbath for these drivers tonight because Edmondson doesn't want to lose. He's tired of losing to Cam Peterson whenever Peterson's running in the virtual off-road racing series. Keaton Swain looking for that championship. Connor Berry, teammate to Edmondson at Jim Beaver Esports. He's known in the winner's circle as well. These 3 drivers are hungry for a championship, and with no Cam Peterson in sight, it's going to be between those 3.
Yeah, they're looking to be a first-time champion. We talked about how Cam Peterson, the 2-time defending Pro 2 champion, will a new record gets written into the record books for this virtual off-road racing series here tonight with a Pro 4 title on the line. And we would be remiss to forget to talk about this racetrack here at Crandon International Raceway. Josh, opened back in 1984, located in Crandon, Wisconsin. This 1.5-mile racetrack features elevation changes, high-flying jumps, and a final hairpin corner that has produced more than its fair share of dramatic finishes over the years. When it comes to short course and off-road truck racing, this is the place to be, both in real life and here on the iRacing service. And when you compare it to the other racetracks we've been to, the Bark Rivers, the Wild Horses, the Wild Wests, this is a big track. These are long, grueling laps with a lot of opportunities to make up time and a lot of opportunities to make mistakes.
Yeah, and taking a look at that race analysis, it's pretty simple night. 2 heat races that we'll start off with. We'll either have 1 or 2 LCQs. If we have 2, it'll be the top 2 transferring after 4 laps. If it's only 1, we're going to have 4 drivers transferring in after those 4 laps. And then, of course, a 12-lap feature race, that competition caution at lap number 6. We saw, Evan, at the beginning of this season, how much that competition caution changed this race here from Crandon. It delivered us an amazing 3-way finish with 3 drivers all battling for that race win. Maybe we can rekindle some of that same magic, and if it's with the 3 championship competitors, I don't think we could have scripted a better finish to the championship than that, but we got to get through the heat races and consolation first and see if any of the championship competitors are going to struggle in the heat races or consolation.
Yeah, and the reason that, we talk about how consistent these drivers are, Josh, and up until this point, we talk about how drops have been a factor, right? So the worst finish for those championship drivers has been dropped from their standings. Aside from Connor Berry for not racing around 4, Josh Edmondson's worst finish, a 3rd. Keaton Swain's worst finish, a 4th. We expect that not only those 3 drivers are fighting for the championship tonight, but we fully expect that those 3 drivers will be in the feature and fighting for the race win here this afternoon. So to get tonight's action underway, let's take a look at your heat race number 1 starting grid and best in qualifying. Connor Berry, a 1:16.484. He will bring us to the green flag this afternoon. Remember, on the very inside of a 10 wide land rush start. So Keaton Swain alongside in 2nd, Gary Green is 3rd, Cody Retzlaff is 4th, and Brian Clement is 5th.
And continuing down the rest of the grid as we get ready to go racing, to be 11 drivers who are going to look for this heat race win. And Connor Berry in the prime position here, Evan, to make it happen on the opening lap. And we are already underway as everybody's gridded up. They race towards turn number 1. It's going to be Cody Blackledge that's going to have a bit of an advantage, but already getting covered off as there goes Connor Berry off and away to the race lead.
And a bit of contact about 4 rows back, but a pretty clean land rush start for Crandon, typical. And you can see that number 36 truck now challenging towards the front. That's Christopher Plumley. But objective number 1 accomplished. Connor Berry clears for the race lead and avoids any problems. You can see the 56 Drapkin getting physical with Plumley behind. That would be great news for Connor Berry. Let them fight behind you and break yourself free, Josh. I think he gets pretty fortunate in the fact that because of the qualifying splits, he is the only of those championship 3 drivers in this heat race number 1. So he's not racing against any of his fellow competitors, and that should give him the upper hand as he's trying to stretch things out here on lap number 1 of 4 in heat race number 1.
Definitely makes it a lot easier for Connor Berry because he only has to focus now on the drivers that are around him, and none of them are his championship competitors. He can really focus here and try and focus forward and get this heat race win. It is going to be great for him if he can get this heat race win, because then that's just going to net him a pole position when it comes to the feature race as well. So Connor Berry exactly where he needs to be tonight as we get a great look for the first time inside of Connor Berry's sim rig as he leads the way here from virtual Crandon.
And you can see all the hardware on the mantle behind him. No surprise, Connor Berry, one of the most well-accomplished drivers. We talk about that mix of virtual to reality and the mix of real-world experience and sim experience. And Connor Berry is one of the best here on the service. And you can see how calm he is, Josh. That's the big thing, right? And I think that the advantage here is he's got that opening early. So we've seen some contact further back in the field. Drivers like Donovan Johns, Trevor Teal making some contact. But up front, it's smooth sailing. And he's putting a little bit of distance on Christopher Plumley in the mirror. He is very calm to be driving a Pro 4 truck right now.
Oh, he looks much calmer than I would be if I was leading a heat race here. He looks like he's out on a Sunday drive, not even racing Pro 4s. It is very easy for him, and that's why he is one of the championship competitors, and that is why that he is at the front of this field. A little bit further back, we can go to the battle for the transfer spot, which at the moment, not much of a battle. It's Nicholas Dachillette, who sits in P4. Thomas Grady, Luke Krause battling for that 5th spot. And there's Trevor Teal, relatively new face here for Pro 4 trucks. For those of you who tuned in to Racecraft's TV Rallycross, you saw him every single round in the RX2 class. Now he is here racing in the final round at Crandon in the Pro 4 trucks and looking for a good finish. He's knocking on the door from Luke Krause, and Krause takes a slam into the outside wall. That's going to open the door a little bit for Trevor Teal if he can continue to chase him down.
And Teal started back at number 9 spot. He's looking to become the first driver to work their way in to those top transfer spots. Again, a lot of this is at the disadvantage to Crystal King, who had an incident early in this race. Crystal King was in the middle of a land rush start, got through the first couple of corners clean, but about at the end of lap number 1, had a roll down by the barn turn and is now towards the rear. So she drops out at the top 4. That moves Thomas Grady back in and Luke Krause up from 7 to 6, but you know, Teal is doing his best to stay on the heels. As you can see, Grady and Kraus, no reason to fight with one another. They are 5 and 6. Both of those pay into the feature. So we'll see how aggressive they're willing to be, and what a different approach to that corner. Teal really watching as Luke Kraus slid it in and nearly got into the door of Thomas Grady there, but this is Olsum 6 seconds off of the race lead. Connor Berry comfortably now 9/10 of a second ahead as you see the intervals on the left-hand side of your screen. Looking for the white flag this next time by. Grady and Kraus looking good if they can play nice.
This is the closest battle on the racetrack right now. We'll continue to monitor this one as here comes Kraus to the bottom. He's going to cover off that spot on Thomas Grady relatively easily. Now here comes Grady back to the bottom. Grady's going to complete the pass. A perfect crossover move. Now as they continue to battle, Connor Berry coming across the line. He'll take the white flag. And now Grady and Kraus need to make sure they do not get into each other, like you said, Evan, because look at Trevor Teal. He's closed in a little bit more. He's about a second back. If any of these two drivers end up crashing over into the grass, here comes Trevor Teal to pick up the pieces.
And we've seen drivers have issue with hiking trucks up on some of the inside berms and over-rotating, slotted off and off of the racetrack, right? So it doesn't need to be an issue from side-by-side racing. A problem could come really from anywhere on this racetrack. These drivers work themselves through that turn number 4 hairpin. Now they're going to work down the long stretch, and right there it is. Talking about how easy it is to have a mistake, and way off a track in the back there. You saw the issue with Thomas Grady. He was in 5th position. He was in a transfer spot, and that was a very weird incident where it almost started as a single truck incident. Josh, let's see this. I don't know if he let up early or if he gets touched, but right there, and he gets just enough of the berm on the outside, almost saves that truck, but at this point he's off track. He would have been penalized, and I said they're safe if they could play nice. Clearly they could not, and Grady is going to be dealing with an LCQ attempt.
Take a look up at the front. Connor Berry, a dominant first heat, and he is going to walk his way into the feature with a pole position starting spot in the feature too, Evan. That is going to be perfect for Connor Berry as he goes for a championship tonight.
Exactly what he wants. Last week as well, Josh, he was fastest in practice, in qualifying, won his heat, and went on to win the feature, and Connor Berry is into the Crandon main event tonight to fight for a championship. Christopher Plumley, Zachary Dropkin, Nicholas Dashlet, Luke Kraus, and Trevor Teal sneaking in P6 are all headed to tonight's feature. Then you'll have to deal with the rest of the drivers sent down. Bryant, Johns, Grady, Blackledge, and King will try again. So now we'll line them up again and we'll take a look at the starting grid. This is heat race number 2, and there are the other 2 of our championship trio. Josh Edmondson, second best in qualifying, puts him on pole for qualifying heat number 2. Keaton Swain right alongside in second. Gary Green is third, and Cody Retzlaff is fourth, with Brian Clement and Tor Borison your top 6.
Going back from there all the way down to the final spot, P10, Daniel Eisch, Bill Lester, Miles Morrison, Nathan Ramsey. As the field takes to the land rush start here at Crandon, this is going to be everybody lining up next to each other as we just wait on 5th place, Brian Clement, to work his way onto the grid. But heat number 2 coming on up here, Evan. This one's going to be interesting because now we have not just 1, but 2 of our championship competitors sitting right there on the inside line, 1st and 2nd.
It's a very different dynamic than what we saw in that first heat race when basically Connor Berry could do it on his own. So these guys going to be racing for position in this heat, but don't forget it's going to be positioning as well on the grid in the feature. We are off and away. Edmondson on the inside, Keaton Swain to the outside. Berry holds through the first corner, but it's going to set Swain up nice. He's got the inside looking out through the left-hander with the barn turn, puts a slide job on Josh Edmondson and Keaton Swain. Early lead in heat race number 2, and here comes Tor-Andre Borison thinking about fighting for second.
Edmondson takes a slide to the inside, tries to go for it on Swain, can't do it. Tor-Andre Borison starting to work his way into this top battle. Gary Green gonna hold off Bill Lester and company behind him. As Swain at the front, what a lightning start from the 21 as he takes the lead away from Josh Edmondson. and that is exactly how they are going to stand as they go on to the official first lap of this race. But Edmondson's not letting Swain go just yet. Edmondson wants that spot. He is going to keep the pressure going on Keaton Swain. They're going to go into the tightest hairpin on this circuit. Will Edmondson go for a dive? Two championship competitors at the front of the field.
Edmondson going to go a little bit wider as he keeps the pressure on in the battle for the race lead. Behind them, Borison still holding off Gary Green in a fight for third and fourth. But this is the onboard look for Josh Edmondson in second position on the coldest streak that he's had, Josh, all season long. He was second place in the season opener at Bark River, got back-to-back wins thereafter at Crandon and Wild West, and he has finished third the last 2 weeks out. Third's not bad, don't get me wrong, but those are the lowest finishes he has had all year, and the battle here with Keaton Swain's a big one. We expect both of these drivers on speed to easily get to the feature, but winning this heat lines you up second, getting second place in this heat lines you up fourth. For that feature, that could be a big difference maker, because I do not want to get punted into the middle of that pack when we go racing for the feature race a little bit later on this afternoon. Edmondson doing a good job of hanging with them, but Keaton Swain opened it up a little bit in that section now on lap number 2.
And both of these drivers know exactly how to win. I mean, the only driver this season who has won a feature that is not in the championship fight is Luke Knupp, who won back at Wild Horse Pass and beat Cam Peterson in his only start of the season. As Swain is going to get up on the berm a little bit, ascend down to the bottom for Edmondson. That's not going to stick. He loses a little bit of momentum as Gary Green is going to go into a bit of a heated battle with Tor-Andre Borison. They're going to go side by side for third. The 920 green machine on the inside, the 4 white and black machine on the outside. As they almost went side by side again, Borison's going to have to give way to the top 3.
Yeah, Green got that spot with a real nice slide in turn number 4, and Tor-Andre Borison wanted to fight it back. And listen, they're racing hard, but they've kept it sportsmanlike for now. Borison's got an inside look now as they look off and into turn number 7. Way wide for Gary Green. He'll have the run off the corner, but Borison parks the bus, slows down that 920 machine to Green. And as we come to halfway in heat race number 2, Borison hangs on to third, Green in fourth, then Cody Retzlaff right behind these two in P5, then a big gap, Daniel Aish right now, your bubble driver with 2 laps to go.
That battle for that transfer spot. There you see Daniel Aish, and right behind him you can see the 22 of Miles Morse. Not a big battle currently for that transfer, as you see the 22 drifting through that corner going into the long configuration here at Crandon. But for Aish, that number 33 Nitro Circus machine doing a great job from being outside the transfer spot at one point to now being up inside of that transfer right where he started in P6. A great run for Daniel Aish here as Miles Morse, Nate Ramsey, Bill Lester looking like they're going to be heading into the Constellation. As Gary Green and Tor-Andre Borison are going to trade hands again. Green barely getting clear of Borison. Here comes Cody Retzlaff. How's the 525 going to insert him into this third place battle?
He's closed it in, and Retzlaff has just been a spectator to this point, but you have to think that he's going to want to go for these 2 positions. And the way that they're racing each other, there's been mistakes aplenty. That's the funny thing about hard racing like this, is they're going to come to take the white flag, and how's that for a shunt by Cody Retzlaff trying to push his way through? Is it the most exciting racing like this is far from the most efficient racing. That's why they are more than 4.5 seconds off of the race leader. So I think Retzlaff's going to have to wait for Borison to make a move and then try to pounce on it. But, I mean, Keaton Swain is checking out up front. Daniel Aish just hoping to not make a mistake in P6. Will we see last lap fireworks again?
There's a send to the inside in the battle for third. Tor-Andre Borison goes for the move, but Gary Green with a great run on the outside. He's going to continue to run in P3. Back up to the battle at the race lead. Not much of a battle anymore as Keaton Swain has far pulled away from Josh Edmondson at this point. They're going to work their way through the final couple of corners here at Crandon and bring it across the line. And a heat win, much needed for Keaton Swain, and Edmondson goes for a send once more. Cannot get it. It's going to be Keaton Swain this time. P2 start for him in the feature, and Edmondson's going to be already down a bit as he's going to have a non-championship competitor in between his championship rivals.
It is a big win in heat race number 2 for Keaton Swain, and you look back to the land rush start where he knew Edmondson would have the inside for the first quarter and was able to stick it out and get the pass in the left-hander for turn number 2. Final couple of trucks coming across the straight. Aish is through. He is into the feature. Morse, Ramsey, Lester not going to make it. And there's a look at your heat race number 2 full race results. Championship drivers Keaton Swain and Josh Edmondson finish up front. Swain will roll from second. Edmondson will roll from fourth. For the feature race, Green, Boris, and Retzlaff and Aish will join them in that main event. So it'll be one single last chance qualifier. Let's take a look at your LCQ starting grid. Scott Bryant will be to the very right hand side alongside with Miles Morse, Donovan Johns, Nathan Ramsey, Thomas Grady, Bill Lester, Cody Blackledge. You got Brian Clement to the Crystal King, your 9 truck field. Josh, all these drivers set based on their finishing positions in those heats. It'll be a 4-lap last chance qualifier with the top 4 drivers joining everybody else in the feature.
Big question here is, are we going to see any fireworks like you were mentioning at the end of the last heat there, Evan? I'm expecting a lot of these drivers to be fairly aggressive, especially Crystal King. She's been one of the most improved drivers of the season. We'll see if she can continue the improvements here at Virtual Crandon. We're off and away on the land rush start.
And it's a clean start thus far, but that mid-pack's going to bunch up, and Miles Morse says there's a spin behind. That's Ramsey and Johns. They're both into the fence early. 3 wide for the race lead, and Miles Morse makes up for a slow start off the blocks. He leads down to the inside. Here's a challenge for the race lead as they go off now into the barn turn number 6 on the racetrack. A lot of contact, and Morse going to get pushed out as Crystal King goes from 9th to the race lead in about 3 corners.
What a start here in the LCQ for Crystal King. Exactly what she was looking for there as Miles Morse sends it into the final corner. Going to get pushed up the racetrack. Teammate under him, Brian Clement. They're going to be side by side for the moment, as they almost made contact with Cody Blackledge as well. Blackledge now outside of those transfer spots, battling with Bill Lester. Morse and Clement gonna hold on to 3rd and 4th now respectively, as King gonna have a bit of a battle with Thomas Grady up in front of her. But take a look, everybody running right now, Evan, in about pockets of 2, as here comes a Blackledge and Lester to try and get those transfer spots away.
It was a big swing and a miss there for Miles Morse, and this is where you really need to behave because you got your teammate Brian Clement there. You're in 3rd and 4th. Both of those spots get into the feature, but you have a very aggressive Cody Blackledge on your heels. Not that far back as well. Bill Lester in the number 6 spot. He's a little bit further on down the road, but this is, again, all these drivers trying to fill out our championship grid. All 3 of our championship title hopefuls have already advanced to the feature. And Crystal King, I don't think we should be shocked at all, Josh. The speed that's in that truck. I mentioned how early this race fell apart for her off of the get-go, and that's why she started 9th in this, because that heat race was abysmal. But on speed, she was a top 4 truck. She just had that wreck on the opening lap. So there's a lot of speed in that 278. She's doing a great job so far, actually putting a bit of a gap on Thomas Grady, who's hanging out at about a 4 truck length difference.
I'm not definitely not shocked to see Crystal King up here. I mentioned she's been one of the most improved drivers of the season here in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 4 Championship, because she has been. She has really been improving on her off-road racing game, and take a look at this with her in the race lead of the LCQ, looking to qualify in once again to a feature race here at Crandon. But take a look behind her. Side-by-side moment for P3. Miles Morse versus Brian Clement. But take a look at Cody Blackledge, who sits right behind them, stalking and waiting for his opportunity to pounce for a transfer.
And that's the key, is just stay in the conversation. He continues to watch on as the battle up front continues to stretch further and further away from this trio as you take that onboard perspective with Brian Clement. Clement as well had some promise, qualified 5th on speed into heat race number 2. That put him 10th overall of all the trucks in the field tonight, but had an issue, fell down to 10th, and that's why he started on such a back foot. But I mean, you're seeing these teammates racing side by side, Josh Miles Morse and his teammate Brian Clement there. I think that's only benefiting the challenge there to the outside for Cody Blackledge. They are not working good with one another, and I think Blackledge may have the faster truck right now, but he's going to start to run out of time. Yes, these are long laps at Crandon, but 4 laps ticks by awfully fast, and they're side by side for 3rd and 4th in that long run down to turn number 4.
Oh, you're 100% correct about that one, Evan. Cody Blackledge last time by, 118.542. Clement and Morse last time by were in the 118.8s. So about 3/10 quicker than both of the drivers running in front of him for Cody Blackledge. Let's see if he can make anything happen here. We saw at the end of heat race number 1 what happened to Thomas Grady. He's well and away in P number 2. He is pretty safe at this moment, but we saw the mistake that came right near that transfer spot. We'll see if we end up having another one of those as we go into the final lap here of heat race, or the LCQ. Here comes Cody Blackledge. He's going to ruin a bit of his momentum trying to run the inside line there, but he's definitely still close enough to pounce if need be.
Well, this is the point where you're going to have to start taking those risks. You're going to have to start making challenges. White flag, 1 lap to go. And the LCQ here tonight for round number 6 at Crandon International Raceway. Up front, Crystal King, 1 second ahead of Thomas Grady. You can see the difference between them as they run down that long stretch from turn 3 to turn 4. The big hairpin, they're both going to go awfully wide. And I think the importance and the focus for those two drivers is to just stay on track. But back here, Blackledge working real hard, but the only thing he could do there was defend against Bill Lester, running out of time in P5.
Nothing Blackledge can do now unless he sees Clement and Morse in front of him end up going into the wall. A bit of a weird bounce off the exit of that jump for Miles Morse, but he's going to be off and away in P number 4. But at the front, Crystal King, what a dominating performance in the LCQ from 9th to 1st on the start. And through the final corner, Evan, she is looking great at the front of the field. She'll qualify for the feature off of P1.
Most impressive race that we've seen tonight. Crystal King wins the LCQ. Thomas Grady 2, Clement 3, and Miles Morse hangs on by 2 truck lengths to finish at 4th and secure the final ticket into the main event. That will send Cody Blackledge, Bill Lester, Nathan Ramsey, and your last place finisher in this one towards the back, Donovan Johns and Bryant. You got Lester there as well. They are unable to make it. What an impressive run, though, for Crystal King. Your heat race winners started 1st and 2nd, respectively. She got that one done from 9th position. We'll take a quick opportunity to step aside, and when we come back, we go feature racing for the last time this season. You're watching the virtual off-road racing series Pro 4 Championship finale from Crandon. The feature is next on Racecraft TV.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
And back live from iRacing's virtual Crandon International Raceway in Crandon, Wisconsin, where Racecraft TV's coverage of the virtual off-road racing series Pro 4 Championship finale tonight continues as we are ready to drop the green on the feature. I want to welcome you back into the broadcast booth alongside our producer Joshua Lee, myself, Evan Pasoka. Josh, we knew the tale of the tape coming in was pretty clear. A three-way battle for the championship between Josh Edmondson, Connor Berry, and Keaton Swain. Highest finisher in the feature takes it, and to nobody's surprise, they all qualified in handily. So they're going to be rolling off 1, 2, and 4 as we get set for a 12-lap feature with all the marbles on the line.
You just mentioned it, Evan. Everything is on the line here. This is the final feature race of the season. Whoever crosses the line first gets the championship. It is no more simpler than that. Just whoever finishes first takes the championship. This one's going to be insane, especially like you mentioned, Evan. 3 of our championship competitors and all 3 of our championship competitors start in the top 4.
And there they are, highlighted in red. Remember, the first 10 cars going to be all side by side. Let's take a look at your feature starting grid. So Connor Berry is going to get the very inside line, starting this race on a pole. Keaton Swain will be third. Then Plumley separates them with Josh Edmondson fourth. You got Drapkin, Green through the rest of the top 6. Dashlet, Borison, Kraus, and Retzlaff, your top 10. So 10 drivers side by side on the front row. 6 drivers behind on row number 2, looking to crown the first Pro 4 champion in virtual off-road racing series history. Let's go racing from Crandon. They are already crashing to the back, but up front with a huge slide, Connor Berry holds off Swain for the race lead.
Look at where Josh Edmondson is. You can see the Jim Beaver Esports machine, middle of the pack. This was the start Edmondson was not wanting. Let's take a look at him now, trying to go 3 wide with Borson and Green to the bottom. He's mid-pack now, trying to fight his way back up into the top 5. Here comes a big send to the inside for that Jim Beaver Esports number 58. But take a look at the front. Swain and Berry pulling away at the front with Connor Berry, your race leader.
Edmondson shakes the truck loose. He gets up to 5th position, still needs to get around Nicholas Dashlet, and then even further up the road, Zach Drapkin, who sits in 3rd. It's a great 3-way battle for the race lead, but Connor Berry had busted this race wide open as we just now really start lap number 1. And the big thing to remember is there will be a competition caution halfway in this feature. So if I'm Swain, I'm not worried that much about intervals. Same with Josh Edmondson, Josh, but he needs the spots. There's one beautiful slide job to get around Nicholas Dashlet, and Josh Edmondson is back into P4.
What a move from Edmondson. Exactly where he needs to be. He needs to keep going forward. He cannot stop here, Evan. He really is going to be just on a mission and not stopping until we see that yellow flag come out for the competition yellow. We go on board with Edmondson here. You can see once we go on board, you can really see how far that gap is as he tries to go to the inside. Borson and Dashlet fight behind him as he is just trying desperately now to get around Zachary Drapkin, who sits in front of him into the final corner to go on to lap number 2, trying all he can to use that 4-wheel drive to his advantage. Not going to be enough. Swain's off track.
Huge mistake by Keaton Swain as he pushed it up the inside of Josh Edmondson coming over the start finish, and they made contact. Swain got into the concrete barrier and went off track. He hangs on to fourth, but that's a free spot to Josh Edmondson now, as Edmondson's been applying the pressure to Zachary Drapkin, who assumes second. Here's a second look as you can see all of this chaos from the onboard. The inside opens up, he puts it in there, but right there, a touch, and he just gets that tire barrel, I think, that sticks out by the start-finish gate. It throws him off track. You can see the damage on the front of his truck. Could have been worse, but certainly could have done without that. And now we'll see if Keaton Swain can bounce back as he drops all the way down to P4 and has given Zachary Drapkin the opportunity to go to P2 and has handed Connor Berry a mammoth lead in the first half of this feature.
You just said it right there, Evan. The first half of this feature. We have the competition yellow that is coming up. End of lap 5, going on to lap number 6. That's going to bunch everybody back up. So this lead for Connor Berry, other than him being well and good into the lead and a pretty comfortable lead up until that yellow flag, once that comes out, means basically nothing, the lead that he has, because it is going to go down just tenths once they go under that competition yellow. So Berry can do all he wants at the front right now. He can sort of take a breather for the moment, but he really cannot let his guard down, because once the green flag comes out from that competition yellow, everybody's going to be right on his back bumper. As Edmondson not wasting any time, he wants second place away from Drapkin. He gets close, not going to be enough as they go over the whip section.
Josh Edmondson noted as one of the more methodical drivers, but you can see how important this is to him, and he knows that not only is this pass big, but he needs to be in second for the comp yellow. He does not want to throw this opportunity away, but Keaton Swain now applying the pressure from fourth. The battle for second in this championship is white knuckle right now. Edmondson again to the bottom, trying to push that 56 and Drapkin wide, but it opened up the door to the inside for Keaton Swain. 3 wide, side by side by side for second, and Drapkin punches back, moves Edmondson, maintains P2 as we take lap number 4.
Keaton Swain saw an open door there for a moment, couldn't do much with it. He had to back out of it once they came across that start-finish line, so he'll go right back into P4, but now he's putting a lot of pressure on Edmondson. Look who's this opened the door up for. Christopher Plumley from P5. We know the drivers who are not competing for the championship really don't have a lot riding on this race. They all still want to go to victory lane as Edmondson gets on 2 wheels for the moment. That opens the door once again for Keaton Swain up the inside. Side by side again over the whoop section. Swain's not giving an inch, and Edmondson very close to making a monumental mistake. He was able to save it, get it back on all fours.
And the frustration is boiling over there for Josh Edmondson. Drapkin took a very early slide into the corner, and Edmondson tried to move him out of the way, but it hiked that truck up, and he had some choice words for Drapkin over the driver radio channel. This battle has caused them to drop more than 3 seconds off of race leader Connor Berry, but again, I think they're only racing this way because they know they have that comp yellow, and I don't see any scenario where Josh Edmondson is not ahead of Zach Drapkin before the comp yellow. He knows how important it is, and he's got about 1 lap to work with. How aggressive will you be if you're the 58 truck? And if Edmondson is willing to get physical here, there's another shot. What do you do as Keaton Swain?
Really, all you can do as Keaton Swain right now is just try to get around Edmondson, because right now, Zachary Drapkin's not only holding up Edmondson, he's also holding up Keaton Swain, who's behind him. Edmondson tries to arch that corner, tries to get the run off the outside. He's going to be there by inches. This is going to give him the inside line coming into this right-hander. Watch Edmondson on the bottom. He's going to go for the slide. A door slam to Drapkin. Still going to be side by side as they go under the Red Bull pylons. Still back to the inside goes Drapkin. Drapkin's not going to give an inch. He won second spot, and here comes Swain to try and take over third from the Jim Beaver Esports number 58.
Does Keaton Swain go all the way to P2? No, he's only worried about Josh Edmondson right now. He'll get on his door. Edmondson, though, cross back over. He'll be on the right-hand side and is going to have inside positioning as we head down to the last turn on the lap, turn number 8. Drapkin still ahead. Here comes Christopher Plumley into the conversation. Caution is out at halfway home. What a battle for second on back. I can feel the emotion, Josh, from up here in the virtual booth. Josh Edmondson extremely frustrated with how Zachary Drapkin was holding him up and inserting himself into this championship picture. And now that advantage that Connor Berry had is gone, and we'll get a restart and a 6th lap to go dash to determine a champion.
And honestly, I don't know if you can blame Zachary Drapkin a whole much because they're still racing around other drivers. This is something about motorsports that is so unique compared to traditional ball sports like football, basketball, what have you, where competing for the championship, you still have to deal with the other drivers who are racing for a win. That Drapkin is not a part of the championship 3 who are fighting for the championship tonight, but he sure still wants to win this race. So he's not going to give anything to the championship drivers because he's probably thinking, hey, you're one of the championship favorites. If you're fast enough, you can pass me.
I think that's the motto for Zach Drapkin, and we will see how this one ends. Only one of your top 4 drivers going to be a champion. The other question is, for Keaton Swain, how do you recover, right? Almost was able to get a spot back after losing ground, after he made contact with Connor Berry, fighting for the lead. So I don't think either of the drivers that are chasing your race leader down are happy, and the green flag is back in the air. 6 laps next time by to go here from Crandon, and the battle's already back on for second. Drapkin gets some space, but Josh Edmondson gonna get a nose to the inside in turn 7. Does he drive it into the door? Oh yeah, moves him out of the way. There it is, Edmondson back to P2.
That's the move Edmondson needed to do. Now this is going to put him closer to Connor Berry, but take a look at the gap. Drapkin's going to go back to the inside. Edmondson's going to have him clear. So that's going to move Drapkin now in between Edmondson and Swain. Exactly what Edmondson wanted to see behind him. Now he needs to focus forward and try and catch his teammate at Jim Beaver Esports, Connor Berry. It's a 7/10 of a second gap now as the Jim Beaver Esports teammates are the top 2 at the field and the top 2 in the championship as they're going to continue to fight. Edmondson with a dive up the inside, just trying to take off as much time as he can, and Keaton Swain is up and over in the background.
He got wrecked as he made a move. He made a lot of contact with Zachary Drapkin there. Clearly the patience was done, and when he turned around sideways, he got T-boned by Christopher Plumley, and there is a lot of frustration as it caused a huge pileup. Here's a second look. Your leaders are ahead. There's the initial contact, and right there, when he got sideways in the middle of the pack, he got hit, and of course the rest of the trucks just piling on into it. Keaton Swain's hope for a championship have ended, and again, Josh, all of that stemmed from Keaton Swain trying to get around Zachary Drapkin, who was a thorn in the side of these championship leaders all night long. So you remove Swain from the equation. It is now a 2-horse race up for the race lead. Connor Berry holding steady at about 8/10 of a second over teammate Josh Edmondson. Right now, working lap number 8 of 12, and there's a live look in with both of them. We talked about that composure from Connor Berry early tonight. I still think he hasn't broken a sweat.
I mean, you can see him just completely calm with the wheel, not having any jarring movements or anything like that. Very smooth in all of his inputs. Edmondson choosing a bit of the VR route, and You can see him putting that lean in as well, just trying to get as much power down as he possibly can. Four-wheel drive on these Pro 4 trucks, they can take a lot of momentum. That's exactly what Edmondson is trying to do. Now as they race through, it'll be 4 to go this time by. That gap is still 9/10. Edmondson still with a lot of work to do, Evan, but not a ton of time to make it happen. You can see he's gaining time through the middle of these corners. Once he's on the exit of the corner, he loses a bit. It's a bit of a variable gap from anywhere from 1 second down to 6/10. You can see it here up to even 1.4 in some options.
It just seems steady enough, right? I mean, Edmondson, you look at the lap times, the last time they both put down 1:17.4s. They are the fastest two trucks on track right now. And to ask for Connor Berry to make a mistake, I just feel as like it's such a tall order. He has been so perfect. I talked about how perfect he was last week, Josh, right? Winning, out basically all night, right? Best in the practice, best in Q, winner of the heat, winner of the feature. And he's so far done that tonight. I mean, you talk about getting hot at the right moment. Connor Berry has been untouchable this month in this championship, and for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I mean, he has been absolutely stellar. If there's anybody who could pull it out, it's Josh Edmondson. Remember, he was the one who took to the race lead after winning rounds 2 and 3, vaulted himself to the lead in the championship at the halfway point. After round 3, we were talking about could he pull away with this thing. You can see, licking the fingers, a little bit extra grip on the wheel. He's trying everything he can, but he is desperately running out of time this time by. They'll see 3 laps to go.
Edmondson is definitely trying to throw that entire kitchen sink at the wall, just hoping anything sticks, because he has 8/10 to make up on Connor Berry, and only now 3 laps, excuse me, to try and catch him down. That gap just continues to stay around the same. Last time by, the lap times went in favor of Edmondson by about 3/10. That is not enough. He cannot be having minimal improvements. He needs to be improving by tenths, by even seconds if he can, just to try and catch down Berry. You can see how close he can get in the hairpin corner on the exit. He's able to keep a bit of that momentum. He made up a good amount of time there. He's inside of 7/10 for the moment. It's just so close. Berry's not making a mistake, and like you mentioned, Evan, you can't rely on Berry to make a mistake, because when he needs to perform, that's exactly what he is going to do. We've seen that all season from Connor. We're seeing it again tonight in championship fashion.
And you can see the little shake of the head there for Josh Edmondson, right? I think he's thinking to himself, what else can I possibly do? And you talk about the wheel inputs, right? I mean, how calm, just the demeanor that we've seen out of Connor Berry has been. But the wheel inputs are smooth. They're soft in, they're soft off. You see a lot more turn in, and you see a lot more aggressive in and out of the turns for Josh Edmondson, even leaning the head, right, as almost to will that truck to rotate just a little bit better. But inside of 2 laps to go, the situation has not improved much. It is still about 9/10 of a second the difference, and you could really get a sense for how much that is when you get on a long straightaway like this.
And you can see exactly when he goes in the hairpin as well, just how much he dives it into the corner to try and pick up anything, and then just can't make up any substantial time on Connor, and I don't think he's going to make up any more than he already has. 9/10 separate these two here, and Connor Berry is looking stout in championship fashion. Edmondson's going to have one more lap to try and walk away with this championship, but if he can't catch up to his Jim Beaver Esports teammate, this is going to be the walk-off victory for Berry that he was hoping for.
Other battles, you can see Drapkin in position to fight for a podium. If you'd missed it, Keaton Swain was involved in an accident after the restart of this race after contact with Drapkin. He's back in 15th, and the white flag is in the air for Connor Berry.
The gap still about 9/10. Edmondson's going to have one more dive through that final corner to try and make it work, but if he can't, it is going to be a walk-off for Connor Berry. just what a season. He's always strong in the Pro Trucks. We always talk about Connor Berry being one of the drivers to look for whenever Pro Trucks are a topic of conversation. He has proved that this season and proved why he is on Jim Beaver Esports and why Jim Beaver chose him to be on the team. Just dominance all season long, and he is looking to walk away a champion.
And had to dig himself out of a hole after the early couple of weeks and did this the hard way. He did not race in round 4, so he was not able to fall back on any drops. Every single result has counted in this battle towards the championship. He was perfect last week with a win at Bark River, and he is perfect again tonight with a race win at Crandon. Connor Berry has done it. The 2021 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 4 champion, and just now a crack of a sigh of relief and a smile. Connor Berry blitzed them in these last 2 weeks, Josh, and I'll take your phrase, walked it off in dramatic fashion. Connor Berry is a Force champion.
What a drive, what a season from Connor Berry. There's the celebration. Just unbelievable season for Berry. And not just Berry, everybody had amazing seasons. The top 3 in the championship were all tied, and you cannot script it any better than that, Evan. It came down to that final restart, and just what a performance from Connor Berry, and a well-deserved, and I'd even say a long time coming for Connor Berry.
You talk about being one of the best of the best, and that entire Jim Beaver Esports organization is known for its excellence. They park on the jump. There's a look at your full race results tonight. Connor Berry gets his 2nd straight win and claims the championship in 2021. Josh Edmondson will have to settle for a 2nd place finish tonight and 2nd in the championship. Drapkin as well gets a step on the podium, and it's going to have to be all the way, Josh, on the next slide where you see what happened to Keaton Swain. Looked like a night of such promise, was 2nd to Berry for much of this, but in the conversation and just unable to recover from that incident with Zachary Drapkin and the rest of the field. Swain finishes tonight in 14th position. I believe maybe even in a position where, 3rd place in the championship may have been a question with some of these other guys having some good finishes. Dash led a top 5, so not sure officially where he'll end up, but what a run he had in the fight for this title.
Yeah, and just so unfortunate for Keaton Swain where he had that incident. He had to bring it down into the pit lane for a moment as well. I believe it was right after his incident there and ended up P14. Just so unfortunate. But Swain did walk away with at least one feature race win this season from the opening round at Bark River. So it was not a complete wash of a season for Keaton Swain. Still a great run. But we're ready to talk to our champion, Evan Connor Berry, and what a run for him tonight.
Indeed, let's stand by and get a word with Connor Berry, who gets the race win here this afternoon from Crandon International Raceway. Connor, congratulations on the win. Just kind of encapsulate what these last 2 weeks have been like for you. I mean, knowing that you've been chasing guys like Josh and, some of these other guys all season long, to be perfect last time out at Bark River and to be perfect tonight at Crandon. Were you feeling the pressure? Because we kept taking a look at the onboard camera with you, and you looked like a pretty cool customer.
Yeah, my truck was fast, and I knew if I could just stay smooth, and I would be good. I was able to qualify first, which really set me up good for tonight. I started first in the heat and got first in that, which means that I got to start pole for the main. I got to start in the main, and I just went. The first half I got a pretty big lead, and then the second half, Josh got in the second, and he for sure was there. If I was to make a pretty good mistake, then he would be there. but the gap stayed the same, so I knew if I could just stay consistent and just be smooth, that I would be set, and we won it.
You know, we look back on how consistent you were all season. It seems funny to suggest that third was a bad result, but third here earlier in the year was your worst finish. Did you make any changes coming into Crandon this time around? I mean, where did you find that extra speed tonight to seem pretty untouchable?
Yeah, round 5 was at Bark River, and I got the tune good there. Then I actually took that tune and tried it here, and it was fast. I was a little uneasy about it today when I was running laps. I was like, ooh, these times do not look that fast. But then we got inside the race, and we topped the charts for practice. We got first in qualifying, first in the heat, and first in the main, and had fast lap in the main and the heat. So the tune was just the one what I ran in round 5. So I would say there was a change for when we came here from round 2. So yeah.
And talk about these competitors. I mean, we saw how physical it could get at times. We saw how spectacular the racing could get here at times, right? Even here at Crandon earlier this year. What's it like to race these Pro 4 trucks with some of the best guys on the service? It
is for sure fun. It honestly just feels real. I actually had pretty high nerves before the main, and my teammates were just like, "It's fine, just be calm. You got it. You are fast." And once we got going, my nerves were gone. And yeah, it's just for sure fun with all these guys like Josh, Swain, Cam, Luke. Cam wasn't here, but if he was here, he would be fast. So yeah, it's just fun.
We'll let you get out of here and celebrate, Connor. Before we do, sponsors and shout-outs. Anybody you want to say hi to?
Sure. I want to give a huge thanks to Jim Beaver Esports. This is my first year with them, and this is my first championship with them. It's cool to win this type of series with them. Josh and Cam, we put in tons of work into these trucks, and it shows with us just going 1 and 2. Me and Josh were not off of the podium once, and we went 1 and 2 in the points. Another big thanks to CBR, General Tire, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, Next Level Racing, and Josh for this league, and you guys for the stream.
Well, hopefully you get some more hardware coming to join up on that mantle behind you. Connor, I appreciate the time. Appreciate you being here on Wednesday nights and putting on a show. Congratulations, and thanks for chatting.
Thanks, guys.
So race winner tonight here from Crandon International Raceway and champion of the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 4 Championship, Connor Berry. Oh, so good in tonight's finale. Josh will continue our conversation here post-race and bring in Josh Edmondson, who comes home in second.
And a second place finish, but unfortunately it wasn't enough there at the end. Josh, what was missing in that Jim Beaver Esports Pro 4 tonight? What did you need out there on the track to steal that win away from Connor?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe a little less damage that I picked up the first couple laps and a few less mistakes. Connor ran a really good race. He was super fast and not making any mistakes. So yeah, nothing I could do about it for sure. So I'm happy though. Second place. After being, I think, 6th or something on the first lap, I was getting buried is higher than I thought I was going to get to there for a second.
Yeah, we saw you buried in the pack there. What exactly was going through your mind at that point, and did you change any of the strategy because you were having to fight around other trucks that admittedly were slower than you were tonight, but you still had to fight around them, and the hold up with Zachary Drapkin there leading up to the competition yellow? Was anything going through your mind at that point, or was it still focus forward, try and pass as many trucks as you can to reach the lead of Connor Berry?
Yeah, it was all about getting to the lead, trying to, keep an eye on where Connor and Keaton were, trying to win that championship. And I knew, obviously, Connor being out front, I needed to get up there quick, especially before that comp caution. I didn't want to let him get any space. I couldn't get Zach before the comp caution. I was really close a couple times. But I think that's what ultimately put me a little too far back to do anything about it. And again, yeah, Connor just ran such a good race. I mean, he earned that one for sure. He deserves it.
2 race wins this season in the feature, Crandon and Wild West. We can add a heat race win on top of that at Wild West. So a great season for you here in the Pro 4 Championship. Looking forward to the next season of Pro 2s and the next season of Pro 4s. Can you continue the winning ways and try and walk away with the championship in either one of those for 2022?
Yeah, I hope so. I know we're going to have a fast truck with the team. Everybody on it, puts in the time to have fast trucks, and I like the Pro 2s typically a little better. So I'm definitely looking forward to that next Pro 2 championship. Hopefully, you can go out and win some more races in that one and repeat what we did here.
Great to hear from you again, Josh. Who makes it all possible for you in the 58 team?
Yeah, just all the guys on the team, Cam, Connor, and everybody helping out. That's cool. So, Jim Beaver Esports, we got Fistful of Bourbon, we got General Tire, Polaris Razor, Dirtfish, Next Level Racing, and Vision Wheels.
Well, thanks again for joining us here in the broadcast booth. That is Josh Edmondson, a third-place finish for him tonight, Evan. Second-place finish, for him tonight, Evan. Not exactly what he was looking for, but definitely nothing to scoff at. And a second place in the championship on top of it.
And indeed, a good run, and no doubt that Edmondson going to be in contention for many more of these championships down the run. We'll continue on down with our podium finishers tonight. Now standing by with your third place finisher, Zachary Drepkin, who comes home as the highest finishing driver of those non-championship drivers. Zach, congratulations. I mean, a great way for you to end this campaign on the podium here tonight at Crandon.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race out of everybody. Super excited to be up here. It was definitely aggressive driving out of everybody. I'm just glad to be up here.
Tell us about this race. I mean, early in the year, we saw a lot of physicality. I think that's just kind of what we expect to see out of a track like Crandon. And I don't know if you accidentally painted a target on the bumper or what, but it was getting used up. I mean, what was the key to keeping that thing on the racetrack tonight when others seemed to want to get you off it?
Yeah, trust me, it was I needed brake lights pretty much to be in that race, because every time you brake early to make the corner, you just get ran over. But it was great racing out of everybody. I wish, like I said earlier, Crandon's the big house. You're not going to come there to lose. So everybody drove pretty much as hard as they could. So it was definitely a blast. You go out to Crandon, you don't go race Crandon to lose. So if you're in the championship hunt, you get a little bit of a lean, but you're not just going to go by somebody. Everyone still's got to earn a spot. So definitely excited about next year. I think that will definitely come out more, hopefully, and make more of the races and give a competitive battle for the finish. Be hopefully there in the championship.
I was going to say, I mean, how does, getting such a good result in this last race build towards that? And what's the experience been like scoring, and racing, I should say, with some of the best drivers at short course and, racing against some of the top talent in these Pro 4 trucks this time around?
Yeah, well, it's been a long break in Pro 4. It's probably been about 2 months since I've actually raced a professional race in the Pro 4. I've been focusing a lot on the rallycross side of it and really progressed through there. So I feel like doing a lot of the rallycross teaches you the traction and throttle control that coming over to Pro 4, it was pretty much a great carryover that you could carry speed and be competitive. And just wish I had a little more speed so I can keep up with Connor and Josh. But for a couple months break this week, Connor and me put tons of laps in, probably over 200 laps, just burning, trying to get me back up to speed because I was rusty. Let's just say that. So it's good to finish out the season, especially come out here with third place. Kind of like a birthday win or third place because tomorrow's the day. So lucky number 21. It's going to be a good race. Excited for it. That's it. I couldn't thank anybody else for hosting this race, and Josh and the whole Racecraft TV booth. All you guys are awesome.
We're looking forward to seeing what comes next, Zachary. Appreciate the time chatting with us. Congratulations on a good result. We'll see you on track soon, I'm sure.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
It's your third place finisher tonight from Crandon, Zachary Drepkin. And I mean, what an ending, Josh, to the way that this thing came down. Try to do some math with us, right? So we all started at 192 points coming into this race. Connor Berry did not race at round 4. That's automatically his drop, right? Didn't get any points. He gets the race win tonight. 50 points should put him at 242. And then with a second place finish tonight, I think Josh Edmondson getting 240 will finish second in the championship. Now, the interesting thing about that is our third place finisher in this championship, right? Keaton Swain. And I'm looking at the math now. Swain's worst finish coming into tonight was a 4th place finish in round 4 at Wild Horse. He finished way down in 14th tonight. So tonight becomes his drop. He gets those 4th place points added back in. So he will get, I believe that's going to be 44 points added to his championship. So he ends up in the 230s. So, I mean, super, super tight all the way down to the end. Listen, we knew these 3 championship drivers were going to be in this conversation. And I can, definitely say it did not disappoint tonight. A thrilling championship conclusion. And how about Connor Berry finally getting a championship here in the virtual off-road racing series?
Without his Jim Beaver Esports teammate Cameron Peterson in here, it was Connor Berry's moment to come in and get it, and he did it in spectacular fashion. One of his best drives of the season. Another one of those dominant nights that Connor Berry just seems to have all the time, where qualifies on the pole, grabs his heat race win, and then dominates the feature. He was not out of that lead at all tonight, and always seemed to have had an over 1 second net lead over second place. Beautiful drive from Connor Berry, exactly what he needed, and looking forward to Pro 2s and Pro 4s next year. Hoping we're going to see a lot of the same from Connor.
And don't have to wait until then, right? We talk about how we've seen many of the Pro 2 championships. Cam Peterson so good in those. Connor Berry now etches his name into the Force record books as a Pro 4 champion here in 2021. But Josh, there's a lot more stuff still coming up with the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series.
Yeah, the Pro 2 Championship, of course, coming up in the beginning portion of next year. We got more Pro 4s on the horizon as well, and just so much coming up in 2022. We're excited to get started with the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series. Drivers are all going to take a much needed and going to be, I'm assuming, a much enjoyed off season, and then we'll be right back to racing ways in 2022 as well, with all the Jim Beaver Esports events starting back up as well.
And we're looking forward for you joining us then. Until next time, though, that is it for us here tonight from Crandon. So on behalf of our entire team at Racecraft TV and for the folks behind the scenes at the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, Josh Edmondson and his entire team, on behalf of your broadcast crew tonight. For our producer, Josh Lee, and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in and give a big thanks to our partners, Lawrence Equipment and Factory SimSport, for making this championship happen. Until next time, good night from Crandon, Wisconsin, where Connor Berry is the 2021 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 4 champion.